Hey everyone, I am repairing my HVAC unit and just wanted to show you what's been done so far and what I'm doing currently. So this is the control board that it did get a electrical fry on it. The board looked fine, but there were capacitors and relays on the board that did get damaged up here from a storm that we had. Lightning struck outside the house between me and my neighbors, and it ended up actually frying on this board and even my board on the thermostat upstairs in the attic, because they have two separate, one for downstairs and one for up. And that board was only like $35, I think, to replace. This one is $650 brand new. Quite expensive, but there is a company that will actually take your boards and repair it, repair the relays and anything on there that's damaged. They run it through a system and check it, and then for $180, and they'll send it back to you. That service was phenomenal. It was about a week from when I sent it and got it back, which was pretty darn quick. It went to Georgia and came back, and they got on it quick. I mean, their service was phenomenal. And so all I had to do was put the board back on, plug everything back up, and I got my heating and air running. And I went through not knowing what the issue was. I had to go and diagnose. I took a multimeter and I tested all the relays. I tested the gas relay. I tested, here's where the heat goes through the gas in here. I tested the sensor inside. I tested the igniter. I tested the gas relay. I mean, there's a relay, there's a relay. This is a relay also that goes on the inducer motor, which I am replacing now. I tested everything myself. Made sure the ohms were correct, the voltage was correct, and the AC was working. After I got this board, the board repaired from that shop and plugged back in, the AC was working, but then the heat wasn't working. Turned out a cross wire, these white wires, these two thin ones up here, were just switched in the wrong spot, but I had to do a ton of testing to find that out. And then the heat was working, the inducer motor kicked on. If the inducer motor, which is this bad boy, this is a brand new one, if the inducer motor doesn't kick on, then it won't trigger the heating element in here to kick on. And then once that heating element is hot enough, and then it sends a signal back to the board, which then sends another signal down to the relay to let the gas come through, which will hit that heating element and kick on the gas. So this motor, the original one, this is the new one, the original one was just screaming. It sounded awful. And it lasted for about a week or so, and maybe 2 weeks. And then at least when I was running heat, I was running AC all that time and just fine. But when I kicked on the heat, that lasted about a week and a half, and then the motor just wouldn't turn on. It wouldn't kick in. You hear the motor starts to spin up, and then if it doesn't spin up, then it's not going to tell the gas to kick on or anything else. So I tested the ohms on the old motor, and how you do that is you put a multimeter in where the black and red wire are, and if the ohms aren't reading correctly, then it's probably a dud. It's probably dead now. And it's been, I mean, shoot, my former in-laws didn't replace anything in this system. Even the hot water tank should have been replaced like 20 years ago, or 10 years ago at least. And it's over 20 years old. It's probably like 25 years old now. So a lot of this stuff had never been touched and should have been updated. So I ordered another one, $200 for this stinking part. But replacing it myself is saving me, I mean, that fixed this whole system. Once I plug this back up, I will have saved myself well over $1,000 just doing all of it myself. So just showing you people, you know, power of YouTube videos, AI. These things aren't too complicated to solve yourself, and that multimeter was like around 20 bucks. I bought it a long time ago at Harbor Freight. You can get pretty far with diagnosing these things yourself. I have no formal training, nothing in heating and air, but it's not as complicated as one would think. If you're willing to do the work and the research to figure it out, it will save you tons of money. So I'm gonna plug this sucker back up, and we'll come back and see if the heat kicks on. All right, we're back. Now all that's left is this has all been plugged up. I screwed this relay back onto this unit because it just has 2 screws that screw off of the inducer motor. And you plug this hose up, screw it on, snap that back into the main power, and we should be ready to go now. Flip on the power. Now I've been using the fireplace, gas wood fireplace to heat the house in the last day. I got this part ordered yesterday and it arrived today, so thank goodness it was faster than going through any local company. No one here had this locally. They would have had to order it and said it would be 3 to 5 days, but I found a company to get it to me the next day, which was awesome. And it was the same price I would have paid on Amazon with free shipping, and Amazon would have had it to me in about 3 to 5 days too. So this company had it next day. Phenomenal. Little searching around helps. I had one of these on Amazon added into my cart, and then I was trying to find one that I could hopefully get sooner, and thankfully they had one, because it's getting darn cold and I don't want to freeze and my kids to freeze downstairs. So this is warming up, and it's on now. See, the board is blinking up there, and it'll take the system about 1.5 minutes to come back on, and see if the heat kicks in. If this motor starts running, we are golden. All right. Oh, that motor's kicking in. Oh yeah, buddy. Oh yeah, and it's quiet too. Yeah, this sucker was screaming before. It was loud. That means gas should be kicking on in there. Yep, I see the gas. Hey! What? See, people? I'm my own HVAC guy. Easy peasy, fresh and squeezy. I would have paid well over $1,000 to have someone diagnose this HVAC unit to find out the problems. Just to diagnose it and tell me, oh, first you need a new control board. And then they would have sold me a control board for around $600. And then they would have charged me to come take the control board out, put a new one in, and then they would have probably tested the heat and heard that this was going to go out because the original one was screaming, and they would have charged me full price for that part plus labor to put it back in. I mean, we're looking at around probably close to $4,000 or so just to take care of all that. I did this for $180. Took this out, sent it off to Georgia to be repaired, and so it was like $200 and something after tax and shipping. I paid for the shipping back, and I didn't have to pay anything to send it to them. I mean, I paid my shipping to go there. They shipped it back for free. So I paid my shipping to send it there. That's all I paid. And they don't charge you until they diagnose the board and figure out whether it can actually be repaired or not. Then once they fix it, then you pay them and they send it back and they pay the return shipping. So amazing company. I'm putting the link in with this post. So if you have any issues with yours, phenomenal. These guys, top notch. I even paid for expedited to have it done, fixed the same day as they got it. And it must have been a fairly decent, easy repair for them. They waived that fee. I paid like almost $40 extra so I could get it back quicker. And they waived the fee and I got it back total time, like I said, sent it off. And then within a week, I got it back. So repaired and back. That was amazing. Then the next part was this, a $200 part. So $200 plus $213, I think, after shipping and tax. I paid like $400 and maybe $415, $420 total to fix this, and I would have spent probably close to $3,000 or even more to fix this. And my HVAC unit is running, my heat's running, my AC's running. Primo. Diagnose these things, research, you can do it. It's not that hard. I have no formal training in anything, just willpower. All right, everyone, before I end this video, I'm just gonna give you an example. This is the old unit, the old inducer motor that was, that died. And I've got my multimeter. This multimeter I got from Harbor Freight. I checked it. They have a newer model now, like 25 bucks. These are excellent to have. I've used them for when I'm working on cars, when you're working on any electronic item. This came in handy for testing my whole HVAC unit out, for testing ohms on the relays, for testing voltage from the control board coming out, making sure I had 120 volts coming out of the control board. When I tested and saw that 120 volts was coming out of the main control board, I knew that there was power getting to the control board. And then testing all of the ohms on the relays, testing the individual parts on their voltage or their ohms, and knowing that they were fine, it narrowed it down to the control board having an issue, and that's when I knew I had to send the control board off to be repaired. When I unplugged this before I replaced it with the new one, like I said, this is the old one, I tested the ohms. I just have it set to ohms on here, and like I'm gonna test just to clear it out. You hear it beep. So now I take one to the black wire, you just touching the top to the metal there, little prong, see the little prongs in there. Just touch one to the black and then one to the red, and it beeps, and it's 0.14, 0.15, fluctuates and then goes back to 0.14. And ChatGPT can be your best friend in these things. So I was running everything I had tested through ChatGPT and gave it the ohms that it put out, and ChatGPT said that most likely this was a dead part because of the ohms that it was putting out, and that told me instantly order a new one of these. And it was just plug in, and it took no time. There's like 3 screws on here. This goes up into the this is the vent, goes up into the exhaust vent. It was just a clamp that went around, and you tighten down the screw, plug this back in, and that was pretty much it. This is where I attached the sensor, the relay sensor. It just screwed into this particular area here on the new one, did the same thing, and turned the system back on, and boom, I had heat again. So these things aren't as complicated as they may seem. And like I said, ChatGPT AI is your friend in figuring these things out, because you just go through literally step by step. It will tell you what to check, what to set your multimeter to, You just take pictures. You can take pictures of everything, give it to ChatGPT. It'll say, okay, check this particular relay, unplug the wires from it, check both connections on that relay for its ohms. And then you can give it back the ohms you got. It tell you whether that is a still good part, whether if the ohms are reading correctly, then it's not that part, and you just go to the next part, diagnose that, all with a simple multimeter. This was well worth the investment. Like I said, $24.99 at Harbor Freight for one of these. And this, walking through with ChatGPT and testing all the different relays, just by touching these to the different points on the relays and getting the reading on the ohms, told me that all of those were correct. And if you test everything else, it will lead you down to what the main problem is. And like I said, first off, it was my control board. I tested everything. This was working back then, so this was fine too. Granted, it was screaming. Motor was like, and you knew that it was going to go out soon. So once I did that, this didn't last much longer. But now the system is quiet. It's running just fine. And I did the math, and I literally saved about $1,700 in doing this myself, and me and ChatGPT. So you guys can do this kind of stuff yourself too. It is not as difficult as one might think. Just have some patience and some determination, and you can do it. Best of luck to y'all. I hope this helps in your future problems with your HVAC systems. All right, everyone, before I go, I'm upstairs in the attic. I'm on the second floor and up in the attic because I wanted to show you the other system. Both my systems are Trane systems, Trane. This one is obviously a smaller unit for the upstairs, but I have, I believe, the same problem going to happen with the inducer motor up here. Now, the one you saw downstairs was obviously a much bigger, it's a different kind of inducer motor. This is the one that's upstairs in the attic, and it's got a similar sound, and this is why I wanted to show you what it sounds like when this unit is running and this inducer motor kicks in. It's still working, but it is sounding like this screaming noise. And so we're gonna show you what it sounds like, since the other one crashed before I could show you the sound it was making. It should be a fairly quiet motor, but this one's gonna start screaming. So I'm gonna take this little fuse here and just gonna prop it in this is the switch. So when the door goes on, it pushes this switch in and allows the system to actually stay on. So I'm gonna plug this in here and hold it and wedge it in there so the system comes on. You're gonna see this kick in and the sound it makes. I believe this one's about to go out, and I can find this part for about $77 from this website, and I'll provide that link as well. So you can hear that kind of screaming noise. It shouldn't be that loud, and you can actually hear it even with the covers on, the doors on. There's a door down here and a door up here, and the attic door shut. You can still hear this all the way downstairs. Now obviously it's not as loud, but it shouldn't be that stinking loud. So this fan's probably going to go out, and this is a cheaper part, but you see, now you can see the gas on this one kicking in just now. But if this doesn't work, if this inducer motor doesn't work, it won't send the signal to the control board down here to send the signal back to the igniter, and then the igniter sends the signal back to the control board, and then back to the gas relay to allow the gas to come through and then hit that igniter and kick on the actual burning of the gas. So this sucker will control almost all of it if that's not working. And I did tell you earlier in the video that I replaced the control board on this unit since it's much smaller. That's the control board. It's a way smaller unit. Here is the old control board. So way smaller. This was around, I don't know, maybe $60 some. I don't know. It wasn't that much for this control board. Pretty inexpensive because this is a smaller unit. But that was just plug and play. I just took that one off and I took a picture of where all the wires and everything were plugged into this, and it was just easy to replace. I took pictures to make sure that everything matched up, so when I got this new one, put it in, I could hook everything up exactly as it was. But that is, pull that fuse out. That's all that it took. So it's kind of noisy, even winding down, but it shouldn't be that noisy. So I'll be ordering a new part for that here soon. Like I said, I think I found it for like 77 bucks. Cheaper through this website that I provide a link for under here than Amazon, even with shipping. So I could pay $16 to get the shipping, and I'm closer here in Oklahoma to their location in Missouri, so they're like 4 hours away. So obviously I can get it next day for 16 bucks through FedEx. Obviously if you're further away, it might take a little longer. You can compare to buying a part off Amazon as to if it's less expensive through them or Amazon to get it to you, but part numbers are always on the side of the units, so you can look them up and find the correct one. But these are not too difficult to repair. They look confusing, but ChatGPT is your friend in these cases. Good luck, everyone.